Verify compliance with the open records law?
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hooker.
Here.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Here.
Councilmember Menke.
Here.
Councilmember Raisler.
Here.
Councilmember Weisenbeck.
Here.
Councilmember Weisapple is absent.
And he did contact, said he wouldn't be able to make it this evening. So, next, we move on to the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Somebody like to make a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. It is adopted. Next, we move on to public comments. Is there anybody from the public who would like to make a comment, either on something that's on the agenda or not? If you do, please identify yourself for the record. Hearing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Just a couple of items on there. The approval of the regular city council meeting minutes from March 12th, 2025, and approve.
We're going to hold off on the bartender license until next time.
Okay, so only one item on there. We'll take off the bartender license and just put on the minutes. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. And it is approved. Next, we'll move on to the business agenda. Mayor's report, just a few things to talk about. As you know, election coming up next Tuesday. And when we do our reorganizational meeting in April, we always usually do sort of a blanket reapproval or approval of all commissions, committees, and boards for the city. Still looking for a few people. Still looking for a couple people for the park board. And we do need one other person for the zoning board of appeals. So if anybody has an idea, but everybody else, it looks like I've been able to contact everybody, and I found a few new folks to serve. But we are looking for a couple people for the park board and one for zoning board of appeals. If anybody knows of anybody, I'll do the contacting, no problem. Just give me their name, and I'd be happy to. I have a couple other people I'd like to contact here, but again, so that's coming together again for this year. Just a reminder, economic development meeting coming up next Wednesday, the 2nd. We have put together an agenda. It's sort of an open thing for conversation because I want to make sure that if people have ideas that they're able to do that. But again, I'm encouraging everybody to attend. And also, as far as if you know people in the community who might be interested in talking about economic development, I would like to promote their attendance also. Mentioning the election coming up next Tuesday. Of course, this will be the first election that we're using the Badger books, which is the new way of, yesterday I had the opportunity, city clerk, city administrator, actually had me run through the process. It's in test mode, and I was able to go through, and it works very well. I think when people use this system, then the nice thing about it is we said, when you get to the end of the night, you got that little report all there in the system, and I was able to go through exactly the steps a voter would do, and again, I think and we also had some election workers in today and doing some training, and it seemed like it went very smooth. It went very smooth, okay. So that was good to hear. One last thing I'd like to mention, I'd like to congratulate the community on the great support for the girls basketball team. Going over to Green Bay. Obviously, they gave it their best effort and a great season for them. But the community also received the award from the WIA for most pre-sale tickets. Was a $2,000 donation to the athletic program up here. I didn't know that till right before the game, and all of a sudden the AD's out there accepting a check. But again, so I just to prove that this community's always been great supporters of our representatives when it comes to events like this. But again, congratulate the community, and again, congratulate the girls basketball team on a great season. That's all I've got. Any questions? Hearing none, we'll move on to the administrator's report.
Okay, my memo is in the packet. The auditors were here a couple days this week, actually last week and this week, to start their work on the 2024 financial reports. So we've been getting them all the reports and things that they need from us. There's always a lot of field work that needs to be done, and so we do the best we can to get them the information that they need to give us the most accurate financial reports. Matt and I met with Josh Lowe at Ellers regarding the Madison Street project and financing that project. We had talked a while back about using TIF dollars to do that. Josh is doing some more analysis for us. We'll have an update for the council in April to discuss how we are proposing to move forward with that project. Mayor has mentioned the Economic Development Planning meeting that's going to be held next Wednesday at 5:30. Everybody's invited. Mark Tallman from the Wisconsin EDC is going to be here. And I do have an agenda for everyone to take a look at. I'll pass it out after the meeting or later on so you can take a look at that just to see what it's all about. And as Mayor recommended or suggested that it's open to the public, everyone's invited to attend and give their input on what they think we could do for economic development, promotion, and future developments. And as he also mentioned, the spring election's next week, and Badger Books is an electronic poll book. So instead of standing in line and looking at having people flip through a binder of names and then signing a paper poll book, there's two machines. You go to one machine, they check you in, they make sure that you are who you are, they look at your photo ID, and you sign on a screen, a touch screen, and you're done. You get a ticket, a voter ID ticket or a voter number ticket, and you go and vote. And it's very, very slick, very easy, and we're hoping that we have really good response from the public. So that's all I have in my report. Any questions for me?
Okay. Next, we move on, discussion possible action on hiring CIT technologies for IT services.
So a while back, I was tasked with doing having people come in and do an IT audit for us. My memo is quite complete, that's in the packet. I talked to 3 different companies, one of them, actually 4 of them. One was for the state, and they focused more on cybersecurity, so they weren't able to assist with doing on-site or didn't seem to be willing to come to do on-site assessments. Talked to 3 companies. I believe one is out of Chippewa Falls, 2 of them over in the cities. Of those companies, only one was able to give me or willing to give me cost estimates for equipment that's needed, our hardware needs, even though I asked the other 2 for those quotes or for proposals of what they would project the cost of hardware would be. As you know, there's an expense to that, there's a cost. I hesitate to say what we're currently functioning and working off of. I don't know if it's a good idea to put that on the public to let everybody know what needs we have. But we are in dire need of some IT improvements that's not been done for many, many years here. So with that said, and based on the information I received, I am asking for approval to hire CIT. They came on site, they provided a comprehensive plan. It's in your packet to take a look at if you haven't already. They have managed services it's a monthly service fee that they charge, which monitors everything on a monthly basis. They're willing to come on site if we need them. They've got support. $802 a month for that, and then they have recommended hardware costs, including setup fees. Those costs would be separated and divided up over all the departments because we function and manage everything here for all the departments. So I'm asking for us to be able to hire them to get started on improving our IT needs. The other thing too to consider is the sewer plant could also use some IT upgrades as well. That's in the bottom of my memo. The cost for that is just an additional firewall and setup. So
the one advantage we have is that we don't have, because everybody uses the computer systems and so on, we wouldn't have to drag it out of one budget. We could take a little bit here, a little bit there to meet those needs. But obviously this situation isn't getting any better. And and on a worldwide basis, it makes sense that I think we have to move forward with this. And your feeling is, that since we didn't technically budget in all these little budgets, but yet if you put it all together, we'll be able to handle the cost
absolutely.
of going forward with this.
Absolutely.
And how quickly will they move forward with this?
So if it's approved tonight, I can let them know, get it signed, get all the contracts and proposals signed off on tomorrow, and then get the ball rolling. I would think within the next month or 2, they would have everything. The hardware is going to be what they're going to need to get ordered and get set up and get installed. The managed services would kick in, I would think, almost immediately after they'd have to obviously do a further assessment, see what our needs are, see how they're going to do that. But I would think within a month at most, we would have things where we need to be.
So the 2 amounts of money, the big money up front, the one-time setup of $6,458,
Yep.
plus then a setup fee of $51, and then after that it's the 820 a month,
Yep, 802.
802.
And there is a, not, it wasn't to be misleading, there is a $180 annual fee that's charged for the backup. That the backup system that they're using, it's $180 a year. So I didn't break that out per month, I mean, that's minimal per month. So,
Where is CIT from?
CIT is from the cities, over in western suburbs.
And have they worked with other locals, municipalities, or?
They have worked with other municipalities, I'm trying to remember who they, because I talked to all three of them, I'm trying to remember who they work with around here. Prescott, maybe? Might be Prescott, and maybe Ellsworth.
But they've worked with the lots.
Yes, they have municipal
extensive
experience
history.
and,
And they've been doing this for a number of years.
many
now?
years, yes, many years. Mhm.
Not fly by night.
No. And the other thing that's nice about them is that they are confident enough in their abilities to only ask for an annual contract. The other companies I talked to were a 2 or 3 year contract that you get tied into. So if this doesn't work out, or for whatever reason we decide that we don't like them, we're only tied in for a year. We're not committing ourselves to a long-term, 2 to 3 year contract with them.
So, I was just gonna say, I'm sure we're extremely vulnerable to any,
We have some, but we just need to tighten everything up.
okay.
Because we have had, I know we've had conversations in the past. It's like anybody, we need to upgrade.
Do they have 24-hour service if we need it?
I believe they do. I think that's like one company that does have the
Just
24
thinking,
service.
the PD potentially could, and I don't know
Yeah.
about, Matt, with the sewage and water, if they could ever run into an issue where they have
Yeah.
computer needs in the middle of the night sort of thing. and-
Yeah, I do believe they have a 24 hours. In-house security. I'm 98% confident that they do. Like I said, I've talked to all these companies, and it's been scattered over the course of the
If
last
they're,
couple months, so
I'll
I'll make sure that they do.
if
Yeah,
they're an average sized IT company or bigger, I'm sure
They
they
do,
do,
yeah.
just because of by
Yeah.
nature of working
Yes,
with other
yeah.
It
yes.
says 24/7, 365.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I knew I had it in here somewhere. So, anyways, very impressed. They were, this company, CIT, is, they've gotten on numerous calls with me. They've been not pushy at all. They seem to know their stuff. I was very impressed with how they've handled all my questions and coming on site and putting together proposals for us and so forth. So I would be very comfortable hiring them.
So if we do this, that the sewer plant one is in there as well?
If you choose to. Right now, I have it separated out, because I didn't know if that's something that you wanted to consider doing. It is needed, but I want to make sure that you understood it was two separate projects for them.
They can do that in the future if necessary.
It would be recommended to do it now, but yes, it could be done in the future if needed.
I'm sure the cost will go up, obviously.
Yes, correct, correct.
And that part of it would specifically go to the budget for,
Sewer plant.
the other part would be divided up.
Yes.
But that would specifically go to.
Yes, because that's
Wait,
physically
yeah.
on site at the sewer plant.
It's
yes.
physically on site now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we divided by,
Yeah, it would be, EMS, fire, general, PD, public works,
Okay.
parks, water,
Got it.
sewer. Yeah, I mean, so it's really spread out over all those different departments.
But then at the sewer plant, that would just be under the sewer.
Yeah, that cost there for just the sewer plant, because that's a physical piece of equipment at the sewer plant. So
Is there that in the budget?
it was not budgeted.
Oh, will we consider it part of it's just maintenance?
Maintenance, yeah.
Out of the maintenance
Yes,
budget.
Yes,
And there's ample maintenance budget at this
yes,
point.
yes, at this point. Correct.
Seems critical.
yeah,
Any other questions on that? Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion that we approve that and move forward with CIT.
For city hall and sewer plant, or just city hall?
As far as I'm concerned, I would like the whole package, city hall
Okay,
and
that's
sewer
what
plant.
the motion is. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and second that we go with CIT Technologies for IT services. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Menke,
Yes.
Councilmember Reisler,
Yes.
Councilmember Weisenbeck,
Yes.
Councilmember Hooker,
Yes.
Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Yes.
all in favor.
Next item is discussion of possible action on amending ordinance 625, animals at large, to include e-collar use, I believe in the situation, an update in our ordinance because of technology.
Yes.
If you could explain what the change is.
Absolutely. So I had been approached by a council member that e-collars or electronic collars be added to our ordinances to be an allowable leash option. Looking at the ordinance, it really didn't define leash. It doesn't say what leash is. I was presented with a copy of what Pepin County, what the definitions are for their at-large animals. I talked to Chief Ridgway about his feelings on should we amend, should this be something that we consider. He was in favor of it being very consistent with Pepin County's ordinances. So what I did was took the at-large paragraph that's in our current ordinances, updated it with the underlined words. So the dogs and cats must be leashed on a cord, chain, operational, electronic leash, fence, or other restraint, and that's taken right out of Pepin County's ordinance. It's the same verbiage. So the recommendation from staff is that this be allowed to move forward to define those and then include the electronic leashes, or electronic collars, I should say.
And for people who have, is this becoming much more popular, the electronic leashes?
I think so.
And again, it gets us, obviously it would match the county, so it's similar, plus if it's something that should be added, and it's nice to have certain things in black and white in the ordinances in case there's ever a question.
Yeah.
Any other questions concerning the addition or the changes to section 625 at-large animals? Not? Somebody would like to
I'll
make a
make a
motion?
motion, we amend chapter 6, at-large animals in section 625.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, since it is a change to an ordinance, I'd like a roll call, please.
Councilmember Hooker.
Yes.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Councilmember Menke.
Yes.
Councilmember Raisler.
Yes.
Councilmember Weisenbeck.
Yes.
All five in favor.
Next one on public safety, Chief Ridgway.
I don't have any updates other than what's on the agenda later.
Okay. Next one, fire department, Chief King.
I just got the February monthly report. We did 13 calls in the month of February. We've been busy planning for the fundraiser coming up here on May 17th. The Fire 1 and Fire 2 classes we're just about halfway completed with all that. And grass fire is in full swing. We've had a lot of calls in the last week and a half here, so. I would just ask that if you're going to burn, just please abide by wherever you live, whatever their township, city, municipalities, local burning policies are, to please follow them. So. In the city, I can go over the policies if you want quick. The city, you need to contact City Hall. They'll get a hold of me to issue a burning permit. But burning is not allowed of any leaves, rubbish, of anything in the city. The open fire in the city is for campfire and keeping warm. If you're in a township level, you need to contact your local town chair. The fire department does not issue burn permits in the townships. That's done at their local level.
Just for my reference, I have a quick question.
Yep.
Are burn barrels allowed in the city?
Burn barrels are not allowed.
Thank
It is illegal to burn garbage, number one,
In a barrel.
in a barrel at any time, even if it's in the county, city, wherever it is, you can't burn garbage. You can't burn any construction materials that is painted or treated or anything like that either. It has to be clean wood if you're burning. Yes.
Thank you. Just because I'm new.
The biggest thing in the city that I think maybe Stan maybe knows more than I do with all the complaints, but is burning leaves. That is never, a burning permit will never be issued to burn leaves because it smokes so much and it goes to the neighbors' homes. The only burning permits that typically get allowed in the city is typically the golf course or somebody that lives on the edge of town, and then they're instructed to burn when the wind's not going to be disturbing residents in the city.
While we're talking about rules and regulation, what's for a fire pit in the backyard? Because we're getting into that season where people want to get out.
A fire pit in the backyard must be contained, so in a fire pit of some sort. And again, you have to use dry, clean wood.
And the ordinance states that it has to be used for traditional campfire type purposes, keeping warm, cooking, things like that. So it can't be for you to burn a tree that you just cut down out of your yard.
Yes.
I mean, slowly, yeah. Not like burning a huge pile. It's traditional, keep warm and cooking purposes for backyard fires. So,
It's just too tough in the city with all the homes being so close together, and the smoke is the biggest issue.
Okay. Any questions for the fire department? No. Thank you. Next, we move on. Ambulance, Director Bignell.
I have our February report. In February, we had 32 calls, 28 were emergent, 4 were transfers. I have the transfers listed on your sheet there. In March, we trained for MCI and triaging. Our April training is going to be motorcycle accident helmet removal. And for an update, we applied for the FAP grant. And we were awarded $32,419.28.
And what can that all be used for?
So it's broke down into like categories of how we can use it, certain trainings, certain equipment. So we just have to follow the guidelines.
I will add to the report, if I can, that we are implementing a delinquent billing process. We've got some letters ready to go out, hopefully by the end of the week. Jenny and I have been working diligently on getting a program or a policy together, a procedure to start handling those delinquent invoices and bills. So we're working hard to start getting that taken care of.
The one thing I'd like to do is once we get past the election, is the one thing we talked about during budgeting last year as far as the rates that we're charging for ambulance, that we were going to look at it this year. And I think that should come up. I guess we can either go public safety with it or go finance committee, because it's very, either direction on that. But I think we need to start examining that. We haven't raised it in a while, and we know that obviously trying to meet the needs, so we need to look at the rates for ambulance. And I say we do it right after the election and when we reorganize, and it'd be one of the first things that we jump on, and start that conversation.
Perfect.
Okay. Any other questions for ambulance? How are the new digs working out? I guess I could ask the chief that same question.
oh, we love our location. It's great. So we're all moved in, and yeah, we're ready to go.
We're real close. It's definitely a work in progress. You don't realize how much stuff you actually have. It's been in.
Is this the garage space working out for vehicles?
I think
Today
so.
we just moved the ambulances and the squad cars in there, and yeah, we're making it work as far as how we're going to back in. We might tweak a few things here and there, but it's definitely enough space for us to get our squads in and both ambulances in. So it's a nice space.
And we all can be first out, like we don't have to move any vehicles. Anybody can pull out at any time, so it's working.
Okay. Any other
Anybody
questions?
wants to check it? I'm sorry, Mayor.
No.
If anybody ever wants to check it out, you have my cell phone. Just give me a shout and we can stop up and check it out anytime.
Don't look at my office yet. It's a mess.
We'll give you a little more time.
Okay.
I made that offer because I just cleared out 2 of my
Yeah,
last
like,
totes today.
your
I got
office
it
is
working,
I was on vacation.
Okay. Any other questions? Hearing none. Public Works Utilities, Engineers Report. Russ?
Yes, good evening. A few brief project updates. 7th Ave East project. Bid results are further down on the agenda. We'll discuss that when we get to that item. Pool project, construction continues to make a lot of progress. We've been fortunate with really good spring weather, so things are moving along there with some of the drain plumbing, things that'll be happening, through April. We'll be pouring the deck work, sidewalk, site fencing, completing the interior of the building, so everything's moving right along. The pool project, water filter plant project, that's still the same status quo, waiting for a PSC water rate study to be completed. Matt addressed a few weeks ago some review comments from PSC, regarding the water rate study, so we're on hold on that project in terms of applying for the DNR Clean Water Fund and bidding the project until the PSC's done with their work. That's all I have. If anyone has any questions regarding those projects.
Any questions for the city engineer? And I know we got the next part, which is that Matt's not here, but he did give the written report. And mentioning the same thing about the pool construction, when I talked with him right before he left, there was a construction meeting, I believe, right before he left, and he said according to all of with the general and the subs, they're all on the schedule. I get asked quite a bit out in public, people, are we gonna get that pool open? And everybody's on schedule to hopefully meet that. It's a tight schedule, we understand that. But again, everybody is meeting those, it looks like they're gonna meet those numbers at this point. And again, this weather has helped, I know, and to be able to do that, so. Okay, any other questions for the city engineer? Okay. Any questions that anybody might have on the written report from the department that maybe any of us can answer, or the city administrator can possibly answer? It's all pretty self-explanatory. Okay. Next, we move on, discussion possible action regarding awarding the bid for the 7th Avenue East project. Russ, you want to talk about the bids?
We opened bids on Thursday, March 20th, 10 a.m. for the 7th Ave East reconstruction rebid. You have in your packets Cedar Corp's bid analysis memo and the bid tabulation results. We had 6 contractor bidders that pulled plans from our electronic quest site. 3 out of the 6 bid the project. Base bid for the street project ranged from a low of $92,083.74 to a high of $133,723.98. And then we also bid 2 alternates, north side sidewalk and south side sidewalk. Including the alternates, America Express was low on the base bid by about $40,000 compared to the other 2 bidders, which is a significant amount for a project of this size. And then adding in the north side and south side alternate bid 1 and 2 sidewalk. America Express, like I said, is low. We included everything at $108,108.74. Our estimate last year for the project was right around $150,000, so the 2 other bidders were within our cost estimates, so you received really good, low, competitive bid for this project. And talking to Matt last week before he went on vacation, we were recommending that the city council consider awarding the base bid and the 2 alternates, because they're well within the budget established for the project. That's all I have. If you have any questions?
So the one thing, obviously we know what the base bid is. We had discussed about doing both the sidewalks as alternates because we can decide then which way we wanted to go. We can do both sidewalks on both sides without, and still being below budget and still being within our numbers. And I think, and I hope if somebody wants to feel like the residents there seem to want their sidewalks, and that seemed to be the case. And again, it's right across from the high school, so obviously there's any question about people, no matter what side of the road you're on, that you can access the front of the school, up sidewalks and so on and so forth. So within the numbers, we can get the whole thing done, and again, at a number well within our budget. And again, you want to give a quick calendar on this? We approve it tonight, one way or the other. What do we look?
Yeah,
what do we
if you
staring
approve
at?
it tonight, we'll be getting the contract documents out to the contractor, be awarded to probably within the next day or 2. They'll have 10 days to return it back with their insurance and so forth, and we'll have a quick pre-construction meeting. They'll probably start right away in May. Same contractor that's working on the pool project, so that we have a crew in town that'll be doing the site work on the full project. And I'll send them over here, so project will probably start in May and get done in late June, early July. Proposed schedule.
Would there be any reason we wouldn't want them to start until after school is out?
That would be the only issue we have in and around the school, is waiting till school's out.
I don't think
It
it's,
should still work within their schedule.
that it's,
I'm asking the question, I'm not.
I'm gonna say, being where it's across the street, I don't, safety-wise, chief, do you have any?
Does it go into the library parking lot?
No.
Okay, so it stops at Prospect.
It's all right on the other side of Prospect Street.
Yeah, the other side.
Yeah, I think it would be okay because there's not a lot of traffic that goes straight there. The sporting events are up at Tarrant, there's not basketball going on, maybe some youth tournaments on the weekend, but I think it's fine, safety-wise.
Could the sidewalks stay in until after school? Leave the sidewalks?
Or do we just simply, can the school throw out like a skyward announcement or even send a letter to ask any of the families that live in that area to have their kids, walk an alternate route, just so they're not inadvertently walking through a construction project that's.
Yeah, there is a couple of families there are some families with some kids that walk that route every day, so, yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea.
We can talk to the contractor at the pre-construction meeting to leave the sidewalks in. That's usually one of the last items they do too, until school's out, so that should be an easy coordination item.
Okay, yeah, that'd be, doesn't hurt, as far as that goes, it shouldn't affect the total period of time to get it done.
I'll make a motion, we approve the 7th Avenue East bid from American Express, the base bid plus alternate number 1 and alternate number 2, totaling $133,308.74.
Second?
We have a motion and second to approve the contract with American Express Excavating? Anyway, for the 7th Avenue East project. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Councilmember Hooker.
Yes.
Councilmember Weisenbeck.
Yes.
Councilmember Reesler.
Yes.
Councilmember Menke.
Yes.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Yes.
All five in favor.
Motion's agreed to. Next, we move on to closed session. The council will convene into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 1985-1C for the purpose of considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee for which the governing body has